Good morning and welcome to my hobby bench. So on the table today I've got this Mutunuc 61 Millennium Pro engine that I am about to replace bearings in. So just for documentation purposes, for my purposes, and maybe for the interest of others, I'm going to go ahead and film the disassembly of this engine and see if we can't find any other interesting things about this. So one of the interesting things that I found when I took that carb off the first time is that this draw nut system here to hold the carb in place, as opposed to just being a single one like OS and many other manufacturers would use, it is a two-piece mechanism. Oh no, this one's not. Oh, I must have been thinking about another engine. Never mind. This is just a single draw piece. I was just doing one other engine, and now I can't even remember what it was, where these pieces were two pieces, and the screw just went in through there, and boy, that was really tough to get that lined up. So anyway, never mind. Let me go ahead and take this. Actually, I don't think I want to do that yet until we see how tough this sleeve is going to be to get out. Because of the stickiness of this engine and that really strange looking material that came out of it, I don't know how easy this sleeve is going to be to come out. I doubt we're going to see anything on the top of the piston as far as wear, or not wear, carbon deposits, because I really believe even if it's been run 2 or 3 times, you're not going to, that's probably not enough to put any kind of carbon deposits on the top of the engine at all. Got those screws out. This thing feels like it's pretty. Oh, there we go. Okay, so yeah, that looks pretty much brand spanking new here. So now what? I'm probably gonna have to go ahead and put a prop on here because I've got this thing loose and I can't just turn this thing over. So now I need to get a prop stub and put on here to. And this looks like it's a shim, which needs to be very carefully removed. Pretty sure that's a shim on the top here. There it is. Take that off. Our prop hub here. And see how challenging this is going to be to pull this sleeve out. I know I'm going to have to heat it. I've got my heat gun over across the room. I didn't bring it over here to the table, so I'll just walk over there and heat it up. Yeah, see, I was hoping that that would just slide up, but no such luck there. So I'm going to have to go and probably heat this up, probably even drizzle some oil in there. Now, if you recall from the first video, I did pull this rear cover off to look inside, and I did take that paper cover or paper gasket off, and that is safely secured inside a paper bag or a Ziploc bag, so it stays nice and flat. So here I'm going to have to pause for a moment, throw some heat in here around the sleeve, see if I can drizzle heat around the sleeve there and heat this thing up and use the old popsicle stick. I'm gonna have to trim that one down too. I have to trim this popsicle stick down a bit to get it to fit in that port. Just like that. Now that thing will fit in there. Yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty tight. I'm gonna have to go and really heat this thing up. So let me go do that. Okay, getting that sleeve out was a little bit more challenging than I anticipated. There's our piston. I marked the back end of the connecting rod so I know what the orientation was as it came out. So obviously I heated it up a lot, and this is still really warm. Heated it up a lot and did the old popsicle stick trick with it, where I had to stick the popsicle stick in the exhaust port and rotate this thing over until I got it to come up. And then I had to do that a few times, and incrementally it started coming up a little bit more, but it got to a point where I got the ports out, and you can see it's really kind of weird colored here. All of that was what was really holding it in place. And so it's a rather tight fit, but it was also being held in place. So what I ended up having to do eventually, when I got it up pretty high and I still couldn't get it to come out, was I used 2 popsicle sticks and I stuck them through the ports like this, because there was still, you know, this much was down in the head. It was tough. It was hot. So while it was hot, I just kind of used those as a lever to twist and pull on this and get it out. So that's going to have to be cleaned up really well, and then it'll come out. So yeah, let's just wipe this piston off. Got gunk on there and some wood left on it from being extracted like I did. So that piston looks really nice. I'm sure it's rather warm also still. Let me go grab my wrench here. Initially I didn't have this prop on here tight enough, so it was just kind of spinning. So now, with having to apply that much force onto this drive hub, it's reseated itself. So now I'm going to have to get it off again here using this mechanism, which shouldn't be too hard because it still should have some nice heat in it. There we go. There we go. So there. And that's it. So this engine has, I thought that was a rubber sealed bearing. It's not. There we go. It's a nice little, it actually doesn't feel too bad now, but it's still pretty gummy. So either way, this thing's crankshaft's coming out now, and bearings are going to get replaced, and this engine's going to be in perfect order here very soon for its first run for me. I think it's been run before, but just don't know where. Okay, so I turned the camera back on just to show that that little amount of gunk that was on here was enough to really keep that sleeve from coming out of here, out of the crankcase. So all I've done is I put a little bit of 3-in-1 oil on this little piece of emery cloth. I think it's 600 or 400, I can't tell, it's so worn now. And I just clean this outer sleeve up like that. Now, as you can see, I just wiped it off and it's dry. I haven't done anything to this, but if I line up the ports on here now, look how easily that thing just slips in there. That's how it should, that's how it would be from the factory if it had never been run, but that's how sleeves get after just one run is really enough, probably, as long as it just sits there for years. And how long? I mean, who knows? This engine is probably from at least 1995, maybe a little bit newer, but I don't know. So that's a lot of time to just sit around. And so you can see now this thing is nice and cleaned up, slides in and out. So that can be one of the biggest stressors in trying to disassemble a two-stroke engine, is getting that sleeve out. So first you do, I know this isn't a popsicle stick, put the popsicle stick in there, crank it, heat it up, crank it until it starts to, you sacrifice that popsicle stick, and if you crank it hard enough, it'll shear that popsicle stick, and it'll usually get the sleeve up this far. And then you can try and grip it and pull it out, twist it, pull it out. And I got it up to this far before it stopped again, and that's where I had to use those other popsicle sticks to get in there and lever it and keep twisting it and pulling it out. But now, as you can see, that's not necessary because this thing is just going to slide right back in there. So that's a beautiful thing.